Amanda Caldwell stood on the warm sand, watching her 6-year-old daughter, Lily, build a sandcastle. The bright summer sun shone overhead, and the beach was full of laughter, families, and the sound of waves crashing against the shore. It was a perfect day, and Amanda felt happy just watching her little girl play. Lily was full of energy, scooping up wet sand with her small hands and shaping it into towers. "Mommy, look. My castle is almost done," she called out with excitement. Amanda smiled. "It looks amazing, sweetheart. Do you want me to take a picture?" Lily giggled and nodded. Amanda reached for her phone, but as she looked down to unlock it, a sudden chill ran through her. When she looked back up, Lily was gone. Her heart skipped a beat. She turned her head left, then right, scanning the area. Maybe Lily had just wandered a few steps away. "Lily," Amanda called, trying to keep her voice calm. There was no answer. She took a few steps forward, her eyes darting over the crowded beach. Dozens of children were playing, some running toward the waves, others digging in the sand. But none of them were Lily. Panic started to creep in. "Lily," she called louder, her voice shaking now. A nearby woman in a sun hat glanced at her with curiosity, but no one else seemed to notice her growing fear. Amanda rushed toward a group of children playing by a large rock. "Have you seen a little girl? She was right here. Blonde hair, pink swimsuit." The kids shook their heads. Amanda's breathing became fast and uneven. She ran up to a man selling ice cream. "Excuse me, sir. Did you see a little girl pass by here? She's 6 years old, wearing a pink swimsuit." The vendor frowned, thinking for a moment. "Sorry, Mom. I didn't notice anyone." Amanda's hands were shaking now. She sprinted toward the water, her eyes searching desperately for Lily's small form. But she wasn't there. She wasn't anywhere. By now, people were starting to notice Amanda's distress. A lifeguard approached her. "Ma'am, is something wrong?" "My daughter, she was right here. And now she's gone." Amanda's voice broke as she spoke. The lifeguard's expression turned serious. He immediately called for backup, and within minutes, several lifeguards and beach security officers were searching the area. They asked questions, looked through crowds, and even used megaphones to call Lily's name. Amanda felt dizzy. This couldn't be happening. Just moments ago, Lily was laughing, happy, playing in the sand. Now she was gone. She refused to believe it. Maybe Lily had just wandered too far. Maybe someone had found her and was bringing her back. But deep down, an awful feeling was growing in her chest. Something was terribly wrong. Minutes stretched into an hour, then 2. The police arrived and began asking Amanda questions. What was she wearing? Did you see anyone suspicious? Could she have gone into the water? Amanda answered as best she could, but she could barely think straight. She kept staring at the spot where Lily had been just minutes before. The sun began to set, turning the sky into shades of orange and pink. But Amanda didn't notice. She couldn't stop the terrible thoughts rushing through her mind. Where was her daughter? And why did it feel like she had disappeared without a trace? The days after Lily's disappearance passed like a blur for Amanda. Each morning, she woke up with the same hope. Today would be the day. Today, she would get a call telling her that her daughter had been found. But every time the phone rang, her heart sank. It was never the call she wanted. The police were doing their best. They had interviewed witnesses, reviewed security camera footage, and searched the beach for days. But there was no sign of Lily. No footprints, no clues, not even a single person who had seen anything unusual. It was like she had vanished into thin air. Amanda couldn't understand it. She refused to believe that her little girl had simply disappeared. She knew that Lily hadn't run away. She had been playing, laughing just moments before she was gone. Someone must have taken her. Someone must have seen something. So, Amanda did what any mother would do. She kept searching. She posted flyers everywhere, on telephone poles, in stores, at schools, and even in coffee shops. Each flyer had a photo of Lily's smiling face and a plea for help. "Have you seen her? Please call if you know anything." The words seemed to stare back at her, mocking her helplessness. She hired a private investigator, someone who could dig deeper into the case. The investigator interviewed more people, tracked down any potential leads, and kept the search alive. But after weeks of dead ends, even the investigator started to lose hope. "I'm sorry, Amanda," he said one afternoon, sitting across from her at the kitchen table. "We've done everything we can. Maybe it's time to think about moving on." Amanda's heart shattered. Moving on? How could she move on when there was no closure? How could she ever give up? "No," she said firmly, her voice shaking. "I won't stop. Lily is out there, and I'm not giving up on her." The investigator nodded, but Amanda could see the doubt in his eyes. He didn't believe it, not really. And she didn't blame him. Everyone around her was beginning to lose hope, even her friends and family. Some told her to take a break, to get away from the search. "You need to rest, Amanda," they said. "This is too much. It's been months now. You have to try to move forward." But how could she? How could she move forward when Lily was still missing? Amanda kept going, though. She visited the beach every week, standing where Lily had vanished, hoping for some sign, anything that might bring her daughter back. The beach, once a place of happy memories, now felt like a haunted, empty place. In the evenings, when the sun set and the world grew quiet, Amanda would sit in her living room, surrounded by the photos of Lily, her baby girl, her sweet little girl with the bright blue eyes and the mischievous grin. She couldn't bear to take down the photos. She couldn't bear to pack up Lily's things, her favorite toys, or her clothes. Every single thing reminded her of the daughter she had lost, but it also reminded her of the promise she had made to never stop searching. Weeks turned into months. The seasons changed. The weather grew colder, and the holidays passed without celebration. The pain of not knowing where Lily was, of not knowing if she was okay, became a part of Amanda's life. She learned to live with the hollow feeling in her chest, but it never got easier. She had almost resigned herself to the idea that maybe, just maybe, Lily would never come home. But Amanda's heart refused to let go of the hope. She kept the hope alive, even when everyone around her seemed to give up. Lily had to be out there somewhere, and Amanda would search for her forever if she had to. 4 long years had passed since Lily disappeared. Each year, on the anniversary of that horrible day, Amanda went back to the same beach where her daughter had vanished. It was her way of holding on to the memory, of reminding herself that she would never give up. The sun hung high in the sky as Amanda walked slowly along the shore, her footsteps leaving prints in the wet sand. The beach was busy with families enjoying the summer weather, children running toward the waves, and people lounging in beach chairs under colorful umbrellas. But Amanda felt alone in the crowd. It was always like that on this day. The pain of losing Lily, of not knowing what had happened, felt just as fresh as it had the first day. Amanda paused for a moment and took a deep breath, the salty ocean air filling her lungs. She closed her eyes and let the sound of the waves calm her. For a few minutes, she could almost pretend that everything was normal, that Lily was playing nearby, laughing as she always had. But as soon as she opened her eyes, the empty space beside her snapped her back to reality. She took another step, her eyes scanning the beach as she walked. Then something caught her attention. A young girl, about 10 years old, was sitting near a sandcastle, her hands working to smooth out the edges of a tower. The girl had long blonde hair, and she wore a bright pink swimsuit, just like the one Lily had worn the day she disappeared. For a moment, Amanda felt her heart race. Could it be? The girl's posture, the way she focused so intently on her task, it reminded Amanda so much of Lily. Her eyes filled with tears, but she quickly wiped them away. No, it couldn't be. It had been 4 years. This girl was older now, and even if she looked like Lily, it wasn't possible. But still, Amanda couldn't help herself. She stepped closer, her gaze locked on the girl. As she approached, the girl looked up, her blue eyes bright and curious. She smiled as she spotted Amanda, but there was something different about her smile. It wasn't the same carefree grin that Amanda remembered from Lily's childhood. This smile seemed distant, uncertain, almost guarded. Amanda's heart beat faster. The girl looked at her as if she had seen her before. A flash of recognition, maybe. Was it possible that this girl knew who she was? Lily? Amanda whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the waves. The girl froze for a moment, her hands still resting on the sand. She looked at Amanda with wide eyes, her expression shifting from curiosity to something else, something Amanda couldn't quite place. Before Amanda could say another word, a woman's voice interrupted. "Ella, are you okay?" The woman walked over, her tone firm but caring. She was older than Amanda, with dark hair and a serious expression. The girl, Ella, quickly stood up, taking a step back from Amanda. "I'm fine, Mom," Ella said softly, her eyes flickering nervously between Amanda and the woman. The woman turned her gaze to Amanda. "I think you've made a mistake," she said, her voice cold and protective. "Ella is fine. You must have confused her with someone else." Amanda felt her stomach drop. The woman was right. This wasn't Lily. It couldn't be. She was older now, and there was no way she would still be playing in the sand. But the resemblance, the feeling of recognition, Amanda couldn't shake it. I'm sorry," Amanda stammered, taking a step back. "I thought you were someone I knew." The woman didn't respond, just took Ella's hand and gently pulled her away. Amanda stood there, staring at the two of them as they walked back to their spot near the water. Ella glanced back at her, and for just a brief moment, their eyes met. There was something in the girl's gaze, a flicker of something that made Amanda's heart ache. But the moment passed quickly. Ella and the woman disappeared into the crowd, leaving Amanda standing on the beach, confused and shaken. Was that really Lily? No, it couldn't be. But Amanda couldn't stop thinking about it. The way the girl had looked at her, the way she had smiled, and the strange feeling in her chest that told her this wasn't over. Amanda's hope, which had been buried so deep for so long, was suddenly alive again. Maybe, just maybe, she had seen her daughter today. Amanda stood on the beach, her heart still pounding in her chest. The brief moment when her eyes had met Ella's, something about it had felt so familiar, so undeniable. For a second, it was as if the world had paused, and Amanda could almost believe that her daughter had come back to her. But the woman who had walked up to the girl, the way she had acted so quickly to pull Ella away, it made Amanda doubt everything she had just felt. Was it really Lily? Had she been so desperate for hope that her mind had tricked her into seeing something that wasn't there? Amanda's thoughts swirled, and she found herself walking slowly back to her car, her mind racing. Her eyes kept drifting toward the spot where Ella had been sitting, but there was no sign of her now. The beach was crowded with people, but none of them seemed to notice the nagging feeling growing inside Amanda. She sat in her car, staring at the dashboard, unsure of what to do next. The doubt was eating away at her. How could she be sure that the girl was Lily? After all, there were so many other children on the beach with similar features. Amanda had seen other girls with blonde hair and pink swimsuits. Maybe this was just another one of those coincidences. But then, Amanda remembered the way Ella had looked at her, like she knew her, like she remembered her. And the way she had smiled, just for a moment, as if there was some unspoken connection between them. The brief glance that passed between them was too strong to ignore. Amanda's hands shook as she picked up her phone. She wasn't sure who she was going to call. There were so many people who had tried to help her over the years. But this time, something told her to trust her gut. She couldn't just let it go. "Detective Miller, it's Amanda," she said, her voice urgent. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Amanda could almost hear him processing what she had said. "Are you sure?" John's voice was calm, but Amanda could tell he was skeptical. "I don't know. There was a girl at the beach today. She looked just like Lily. She had the same blonde hair, the same bright blue eyes, and the way she looked at me. I don't know, John. It felt like she knew me. Amanda's voice wavered. Are you sure you didn't just imagine it? John asked gently. Amanda shook her head, though John couldn't see her. No, I didn't imagine it. I know what I saw. It was like she recognized me, like something clicked. But the woman she was with, her mother, she took her away so quickly. I don't know what to think. Okay, John said after a long silence. I'll need you to do something for me. I want you to get a picture of this girl. You can't just rely on a feeling. I know you want to believe it, Amanda, but we need proof. If you think it's her, take a photo and send it to me. We'll investigate, and if there's anything suspicious, we'll go from there. Amanda nodded, though she wasn't sure if John could hear her. I'll do that, she said. I'll go back to the beach tomorrow and try to get a picture. Good. I'll be waiting for it, John replied. Amanda hung up the phone, her mind racing. She felt a mix of hope and doubt swirling inside her. What if she was wrong? What if the girl wasn't Lily, and this was all just a crazy mistake? But the feeling in her chest, the flicker of recognition in Ella's eyes, it wasn't something Amanda could ignore. She couldn't let this chance slip away. She had to know for sure. The next day, Amanda returned to the beach, her camera phone ready in her hand. She was determined to find Ella again, to capture a photo that would prove or disprove everything she had felt. She scanned the beach carefully, looking for the girl in the pink swimsuit. It wasn't long before Amanda spotted her, sitting near the same spot where she had been the day before. The woman, Ella's mother, was nearby, reading a book under an umbrella. Amanda's heart raced as she slowly approached, careful not to alert them. She held up her phone, pretending to take pictures of the ocean, but her eyes were focused on the girl. And then, just as she was about to snap the photo, their eyes met again. Ella looked up, her gaze locking with Amanda's, and for a brief moment, everything stopped. Ella's expression shifted slightly, as if she recognized Amanda from the day before. A flicker of something, fear, maybe, or surprise, passed through her eyes. Before Amanda could react, the woman stood up and hurried over to Ella, wrapping an arm around her protectively. Come on, Ella, she said in a tone that made Amanda feel like an intruder. Let's go. Amanda's heart sank as they turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd once again. She had come so close, but now they were gone. She looked down at her phone, her finger hovering over the camera button. She hadn't taken the picture. Had she waited too long? Had she missed her chance? But Amanda wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. Amanda sat in her car, staring out at the beach. The moment when Ella's eyes had met hers the day before lingered in her mind. The girl's reaction, like she recognized Amanda, like she knew her, made Amanda's heart race with hope. But as the woman had whisked her away, Amanda was left standing there, frozen. She hadn't gotten the photo. She hadn't been able to prove anything. But deep inside, Amanda felt certain that something was happening, something big. The girl on the beach, Ella, had looked at her with recognition. It was almost as if there was a connection between them. Could it really be Lily? Could her daughter have been right there, in front of her, and she'd missed her chance? She gripped the steering wheel tightly, her thoughts spiraling. She couldn't let this go. This was the closest she had ever come to finding her daughter in 4 years. Amanda's phone buzzed. It was a message from Detective Miller. Did you get the picture? Let me know if you need any help. We need to follow up on this lead quickly. Amanda stared at the message for a moment. She hadn't gotten the picture, but she knew she couldn't give up now. She couldn't let fear or doubt stop her. She typed back quickly. I'm going back tomorrow. I'll get the photo then. Amanda took a deep breath and started her car, heading home. But she couldn't stop thinking about the girl. The beach was full of children, but Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that Ella was somehow different. There was something in the way she looked at Amanda, something in her eyes that couldn't be ignored. The next morning, Amanda woke early, her mind already racing with plans. She wasn't going to make the same mistake twice. This time, she would be ready. She grabbed her camera phone, checking that it had enough battery, and made her way back to the beach. The sun had barely risen, and the beach was quieter than usual. It felt almost like a fresh start, a new chance. Amanda walked along the shore, scanning the area for any sign of Ella. The woman from the day before was nowhere in sight, but Amanda kept her eyes peeled. She knew it was only a matter of time before Ella showed up again. About an hour later, Amanda spotted her. There she was, sitting on a blanket with the same blonde hair, wearing the same pink swimsuit. Her mother was nearby, talking to someone, not paying as much attention as before. Amanda's heart skipped a beat. This was it. She carefully pulled out her phone, making sure no one was watching. She didn't want to raise suspicion, didn't want to make the same mistake again. Slowly, she raised the phone to her face and aimed it at Ella. Just as she was about to take the shot, Ella looked up. Their eyes met again. For a moment, it was like time stood still. Ella's face changed, and Amanda swore she saw a flicker of recognition, the same way she had the day before. It was as if the girl knew she had been spotted, knew Amanda had come back to find her. Amanda held her breath, her finger hovering over the button. This time, she wouldn't hesitate. This time, she would take the picture. But just as she pressed the button, the woman, Ella's mother, turned around. She was looking directly at Amanda, and the protective, defensive look on her face made Amanda's stomach drop. Without saying a word, the woman hurried toward Ella, her movements quick and purposeful. "Ella, come on," she said sharply. "It's time to go." Ella stood up, looking at Amanda one last time. Her expression was unreadable, and Amanda couldn't tell if the girl was afraid or if something else was going on. Amanda lowered her phone, her heart racing. She had gotten the photo, but the situation felt wrong. The woman's sudden urgency, the way she grabbed Ella's hand and pulled her away. Everything felt like a warning. Before Amanda could make a decision, they had disappeared into the crowd. And once again, Amanda was left standing there, her mind spinning. She looked at the photo on her phone. It was blurry, taken at the last second, but there was no mistaking it. Ella's face, her eyes, everything about her. She looked so much like Lily. But why was the woman acting so suspicious? Why had she been so quick to leave when Amanda was near? Amanda's instincts told her something wasn't right. This wasn't just a coincidence. There was more to this story, and she was determined to find out what it was. Amanda sat in her living room, staring at the blurry photo on her phone. It was not a perfect shot, but there was no denying the resemblance between the girl and Lily. The same blonde hair, the same bright blue eyes. Everything about Ella screamed familiarity. Amanda couldn't ignore it. But why was the woman with her so protective? And why had they left so quickly whenever Amanda got too close? Something was wrong, and Amanda knew it. She had to find out more. The next morning, Amanda called Detective Miller again. She needed his help to make sure she was on the right track. After all, she couldn't just show up to a random person's life and start asking questions. It had to be done carefully. "I have the photo," Amanda said when Detective Miller picked up. "It's not the best, but I think you'll see what I mean. Ella, the girl on the beach, she looks just like my daughter, Lily. I'm certain of it." There was a brief pause on the other end of the line. "Let me take a look," John finally replied. "Send me the photo, and I'll see what I can do. But you've got to be careful. If something's going on, we don't want to scare anyone off." Amanda nodded, even though she knew he couldn't see her. "I understand. I need to know the truth." She sent him the photo, then waited. The minutes felt like hours as she stared at the screen. She knew it wasn't much, just a blurry image of a girl who could be Lily. But her gut told her that this was more than just a strange coincidence. Finally, her phone buzzed. "I've received it," Detective Miller said. "I'm going to have a look into this. Amanda, you did the right thing by being cautious. We'll try to find out who these people are. Just don't get too involved on your own." Okay, leave it to the professionals for now. Amanda wasn't sure she could just sit back. This was her daughter's potential return. She couldn't sit idly by and wait. But she also knew that John was right. She had to be careful. She spent the next few days thinking about her next move. The more she thought, the more she realized that she couldn't give up now. She had to learn more about the woman and the girl she had seen on the beach. Who were they? What was their story? Amanda started by driving around the area near the beach, hoping to spot the woman and Ella again. She wasn't following them, but she figured if they were nearby, she could try to gather more information. It was risky, but she felt like she had no other choice. The next morning, she parked her car at a nearby cafe, a spot where she could watch the beach without being too obvious. She sat by the window, sipping her coffee and scanning the area. The beach was still quiet, but there were people starting to gather. Families, joggers, and beachgoers were getting ready for the day. But there was no sign of the woman or Ella. Amanda's heart sank, but she refused to give up. She had seen them here before, and she was determined to see them again. Hours passed, and Amanda's patience was running thin. She checked her phone to see if Detective Miller had responded. There was nothing yet, but just as she was about to leave, she saw a familiar face. The woman from the beach. She was walking along the sand with Ella. The same pink swimsuit, the same blonde hair, and the same protective air around her. The two of them were laughing as they walked, enjoying the peaceful morning. The woman looked relaxed, but Amanda could still see the way she kept an eye on the people around her. Amanda's heart raced as she stood up, careful not to be seen. She grabbed her phone and snapped a quick picture of the two of them walking away. It wasn't the clearest shot, but it was better than nothing. She quickly texted it to Detective Miller. "I found them again. Let me know what you find out." Amanda watched as the woman and Ella disappeared into the crowd. She knew that this was just the beginning. She couldn't keep doing this on her own. She needed to trust Detective Miller and let him handle the investigation. But as she sat there, staring out at the ocean, Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that this was it, the moment she had been waiting for. The truth was just out of reach, and she was so close. Amanda's heart raced as she stood in front of the door to Emily's house. She had driven here without a clear plan, only the need to find answers. Her fingers trembled as she knocked again. She had to know if Ella was really Lily. When the door finally opened, Amanda was faced with Emily's calm, almost unreadable expression. Emily was holding the door tightly, not allowing Amanda to see much of the inside of the house. The woman's posture was protective, as if she already knew why Amanda was there. "Can I help you?" Emily's voice was steady, but Amanda could tell there was a hint of caution in it. I need to speak with you," Amanda stammered. "It's about Ella. I think she's my daughter." The words were out before she could stop them, and they hung in the air, heavy with hope and fear. Emily's eyes widened just slightly, but she didn't react the way Amanda had expected. Instead of shouting or denying the claim, Emily just stared at her, her face unreadable. Amanda took a deep breath, her voice shaking slightly. "I know this sounds crazy, but I saw Ella on the beach the other day. She looked just like my daughter, Lily, who's been missing for 4 years. I'm certain it's her." For a long moment, there was silence between them. Amanda's mind raced. Was Emily going to deny it? Was she going to push her away? Finally, Emily spoke, her voice much softer than before. "You need to leave." The words hit Amanda like a slap. "What? Please, I just need to know if she's mine. I have to know." She looked at me like she recognized me. "Please, just tell me the truth." Emily's expression remained unreadable, but her eyes softened for a brief moment. "I can't help you," she said, her voice steady again. "Ella isn't yours. You're mistaken." Amanda's heart dropped. She could see the protective mother in Emily's eyes. She knew that something wasn't right. Why would Emily be so adamant, so sure, unless there was something she was hiding? "Please, just let me see her," Amanda begged. "If you're telling the truth, then nothing will change. But if she's really my daughter, I need to know. I've been searching for so long, and this is the closest I've come to finding her. I can't just walk away." For a brief moment, Emily's face softened, and Amanda thought she might relent. But then the protective barrier came back up. "I said, you need to leave," Emily repeated, her tone firmer now. "Ella is not yours, and I don't want you coming back here again. I won't tell you again." Amanda felt a chill wash over her. Something was very wrong. Why was Emily so desperate to protect Ella from her? Was it possible that this really was Lily, and Emily was afraid of the truth? Amanda hesitated for a moment, trying to read Emily's face for any signs of weakness. But she couldn't read anything. Emily was locked in her resolve, her eyes cold once more. "Please, just give me a chance," Amanda pleaded, her voice almost desperate. "I'm not trying to hurt her. I just want to know if she's mine." Emily stepped back, closing the door halfway. "Leave now, or I'll call the police." The words hit Amanda hard. She took a step back, feeling defeated. Emily was making it clear that she wasn't going to let her in. But as Amanda turned to leave, she heard a voice from inside the house. "Mom." Amanda froze. The voice was unmistakable. It was Ella's. Before Amanda could stop herself, she turned back toward the door, hoping for just one more glimpse. And then she saw her, Ella, standing in the doorway, her blonde hair glowing in the light, her eyes wide with confusion. Ella's gaze met Amanda's, and for a moment, Amanda felt her heart skip a beat. The recognition was there again. The same look that Amanda had seen on the beach. Ella knew her. "Mom," Ella repeated, her voice trembling. Amanda's breath caught in her throat. She had seen this moment in her dreams, but now it was real. Emily quickly stepped in front of Ella, blocking her from Amanda's view. "Ella, come inside," Emily said sharply, her voice cold. But Ella didn't move. She stayed where she was, staring at Amanda, as though trying to understand something. Amanda's heart swelled with hope, but it was mixed with fear. What was going on? Why was Emily acting this way? "I have to know the truth," Amanda said softly, looking at Ella, her voice breaking. "Please, just tell me." But before Emily could respond, she shut the door completely, leaving Amanda standing on the porch, her heart racing. Amanda stood frozen in front of Emily's door, her heart pounding in her chest. The sound of the door slamming shut echoed in her ears. Ella, the girl she believed was her daughter, had called out to her. For a moment, everything had stopped, and all Amanda could do was stare at the young girl. But now, it was over. Emily had closed the door, and Amanda was left outside, feeling more lost than ever. She had been so close. She had seen the recognition in Ella's eyes. But what did it all mean? Why would Emily not let her speak to the girl? Amanda's mind was racing as she walked away from the house, her steps slow and uncertain. She needed answers, and there was only one way to get them. She couldn't give up now. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a message from Detective Miller. "Amanda, I've got something. I think you need to see it." Her heart skipped a beat. Could this be the breakthrough she had been waiting for? Amanda quickly dialed his number. "Detective Miller," she said when he picked up. "What did you find?" "I need you to meet me." "It's important," he replied, his voice serious. "I've uncovered something about Emily and Ella. Meet me at the cafe near the beach in an hour. Don't tell anyone." Amanda's stomach churned. What had Miller found? She had to know. An hour later, Amanda sat nervously at the cafe, her fingers tapping on the table. She kept glancing at the door, waiting for the detective to arrive. When he finally walked in, he looked around quickly before making his way over to her. He sat down across from her and immediately pulled out a folder from his bag. "Amanda, I'm afraid what I found isn't good news," he said quietly. "I've been digging into Emily and Ella, and what I found doesn't match up with what you were told." Amanda felt a knot form in her stomach. "What do you mean?" Miller opened the folder and slid it across the table to her. It was filled with photos, documents, and notes. Amanda's eyes immediately landed on a photograph of Emily and Ella. They were standing outside a house, smiling, but there was something in Emily's eyes that sent a chill down Amanda's spine. Emily isn't who she says she is, Miller continued. Her real name is Rachel, and she's been using a false identity. The girl, Ella, isn't even her daughter. She's been hiding the truth for years. Amanda's breath caught in her throat. What? If Ella isn't hers, then who is she? Is she my daughter? Miller nodded slowly. We think so, but there's more. I found a birth certificate. It's not public, but I was able to get a copy. Ella's real name is Lily. She's your daughter. Tears sprang to Amanda's eyes as the word sank in. Her daughter, Lily, the little girl she had thought was lost forever, was alive. She was standing right in front of her. And all these years, Emily, Rachel, had been hiding her. I don't understand, Amanda whispered, her voice breaking. Why? Why would she do this? Miller leaned forward, his face serious. Rachel was involved in a dangerous situation years ago. She had to go into hiding, and she took Lily with her. She changed their identities to keep them safe, but it seems like she's been keeping Lily hidden from the world, maybe even from you, because she's scared of what might happen if someone finds out who Lily really is. Amanda's mind was spinning. All these years, she had been looking for Lily, and the whole time, her daughter had been so close. Emily had known exactly who she was and had kept her away. The pain of it all was almost unbearable. What do we do now? Amanda asked, her voice barely a whisper. Miller paused, looking at Amanda with sympathy. We need to go to Rachel's house and get Lily. She's been kept in the dark, too. She doesn't know the truth, but Rachel won't let her go easily. We have to be careful. Amanda nodded, her heart racing. She didn't know what would happen next, but she couldn't wait any longer. She needed to hold Lily, to tell her that she was her mother, and that she was finally here to bring her home. As she stood up, Amanda's hands were shaking, but her determination was stronger than ever. She wasn't going to lose her daughter again. Together with Detective Miller, Amanda drove to the house where Rachel and Lily had been hiding. She wasn't sure what to expect when they got there, but she knew one thing for sure. She was finally going to get her daughter back.